Yeah. Heck, man. American pickers ain't got nothing on me, man.
Good morning, all my fellow traders, resellers, junkers. This morning, dude, I got up, man, and got about 2 inches of snow this morning. So that made me extremely happy. I'm getting ready to go out and dig out some, re-dig out some firewood that I dug out a couple of days ago. Anyway, I just wanted to get on here for a minute, and you know, I was gonna bring over some stuff that we'd just scored and things like that, but I just didn't get it together, man. So, but one of the things I thought I'd talk about today, and not a bad thing, but is, I've been checking out, I tried to watch, man, I'm always looking for a, check that out, dude. I love it. But I'm always, you know, especially, man, I took a break, you know, 7 months to a year or whatever. I hadn't really done any videos on here. And other than, you know, pop it in over at Noel's or pop it in at BP's or, you know, a few handful that I see. You know, of course, one of my favorite guys, man, that I've followed for, man, I don't know how long he's been doing videos, but pretty much from, well, from the time that I signed up for YouTube, I've been watching him since he was just little. Now he's just huge as Aqua Chigger, man. So if you haven't watched Aqua Chigger, man, make sure you go over and check out Aqua Chigger. Tell him the hillbilly says, howdy. But, anyway, man, so I was on there checking out, you know, just kind of drifting around, man, seeing what's new. And like I'd said before, and it's not a bad thing, you know, it is what it is. But the amount of reseller channels and that's pretty much all I could really call, you know, on retail arbitrage, you know, and a lot of Amazon people, you know, I don't do Amazon. I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. I ain't going there either. But the amount of resellers on there, at least the stuff that I'm seeing, I would say, whew, man, or the ones I was checking out, and you know, new ones I'd never heard of, nothing like that, man. And I would say 80 to 90% of them, you know, that are selling their stuff on eBay or whatever, or man, whatever, all these other sites, man. I just signed up for a new one, you know, because I sell on eBay, and then I sell on, I don't even know how many. They're not that great, man. At least not for me, man. But the people that are selling and where they're getting their stuff, dude, it's Goodwill. Well, I thought I'd touch on the Goodwill and shopping at Goodwill thing today. You know, for an old hillbilly, you know, that's been junking my whole life, I don't have any Goodwills. The closest Goodwill to me, and I mean, I've shopped, man, I remember back when the first Goodwill, I was so excited when the first Goodwill moved into Boise, and at the time we were living, it wasn't that far from where the Goodwill opened, you know, man, so I was pretty excited back then, you know, and I'd win it, you know, would go in there and stuff and scored stuff, man. Not saying you can't score stuff at Goodwill, I ain't saying that. Not my kind of stuff for the most part, but man, I've definitely scored my kind of stuff there too. Anyway, the closest Goodwill to me, we were just talking about this with kids and stuff, is I believe the closest Goodwill to me is in Nampa, Idaho. In Nampa, Idaho, give or take roughly 130 miles one way. So round trip for me to hit a Goodwill is 260 roughly miles to go to Goodwill. And dude, I have not been in a Goodwill in years. Not the man if I was, actually I can't say, well, it's still been years, but there's a Goodwill in Moscow, Idaho, that I love, man. I've scored some good stuff there and my kind of stuff. I mean, some good stuff there. And a lot of shoes, good shoes up there. That's, you know, the college towns where Kevin went to college. So when he was in college, and he's been out of college now for 5 years, I think. And so it's been 5 years since I've been in Goodwill. Man, that one up there in Moscow, Idaho, if you're anywhere close, it's over by the Walmart. But that's a good one. But this video and talking about this, what I wanted to get at, and the one thing, man, sorry, squirrel, I was thinking about this, because the Goodwills that were down in Boise, which, so it's been 5 years, so probably 8 to 10 years since I've been into any of them down in the flatlands, you know, down in Boise and Napa, and maybe not that long, anyway, I'm trying to think. I'm wandering off, man. I'm just having a squirrel moment, wandering off, trying to remember the last time. Because I remember there was this new one they put in at Plantation, you know, which if you're not from around there, it means nothing. I don't even know if it's still there. But it was at State Street and, what is that? State, not Garrity, that's in Glenwood. State Street and Glenwood, there was one there. And we went in there a couple of times, man. It was so commercial-like. When you went in there, it was so, you know, so not stuff I enjoy, man. And I mean, I'll go look at junk anywhere. I don't care. But, and it, you know, it was all right. A lot of stuff in bags. And then those bins. I don't think there's any of those bins places down there. We'll get to that in a minute. But so I went into that, I don't know how many years ago, went into that Goodwill. And I'd only been in there maybe twice. And like the third time I went in there, man, I'm walking around. And dude, there just ain't really crap, you know, worth nothing, you know, for reselling. And was talking to one of the gals that I ended up knowing. And she's all, it's because they're selling it all on eBay. so the Goodwills down in the flatlands that are the closest to me are selling their own crap on eBay. You know, I don't know if all of it. Actually, I know, yes, I do know that they are, because I've bought in books, quite a few books off of eBay, and you know, it's from Goodwill. Okay, that aside, we're just going off in every direction. The whole thing of why... Oh, let's talk about bins. Let's talk about the bins. Yes, I'm a scatterbrain, dude. What can I say? Since we start junking, man, I'm going everywhere. Those bin stores... I don't know, there might be, I could be wrong. One of them bin stores down in the flatlands. But the closest thing that I have ever been to, or the two closest things to the bin stores, and I don't even know if this is there anymore either, because in our area, you know, over here in the, you know, in the west of Rocky Mountains is Idaho Youth Ranch. You know, an Idaho Youth Ranch, not as big as Goodwill, but it's big. You know, and they got stores all over. There's a really good one in Ontario, man. There's a good one in Payette. There, man, just about every town's got a Goodwill. I mean, not a Goodwill, but a Idaho Youth Ranch. So, but anyway, Idaho Youth Ranch used to have two spots, you know, two big warehouses that it was a weight store is what we called it, you know, because you went in there and you bought the stuff and you paid so much in weight. You know, that's what you get up there in a bin, throw the bin up there, they'd weigh it, and you paid, I can't remember what it was, man, it's cheap. You know, probably about like the bins. So that's the closest thing over here, you know, when I was, hitting the thrift shops like that, or the whatever. That's the closest to that. And then before that, which is we're going all the way back, I had Kevin D in a backpack, you know, was running the auction thing and all that, and they had a Salvation Army auction. And dude, I used to kick butt, man. I used to, first thing I'd do, because they'd sell off the toys when we'd get there, you know, and I had my 3 kids with me, always. And so the first thing I'd do is I'd buy a pallet of toys, you know, and I'd have it situated, man, where I could be watching my kids and getting involved in the auction. So I'd pay like $5 for a pallet of toys. Little story for me. One time I bought this pallet of McDonald's toys for $5. And, you know, of course, let the kids. And that was one of their things. They always had to, my kids had so many, you know, when you're a junker, man, I talk about it with my grandkids because it kind of ruins kids or it ruins junker kids when you're Bampa and your parents are junkers, because my kids had so much, and my grandkids, it's even worse, so much stuff and toys that really you just don't appreciate. Well, the one way that I would make my kids appreciate it is they got to play with all the toys, you know, man. They got to play with all the flea market crap all the time. But if they wanted to keep a toy, they had to trade me a toy. So that was one way, you know, because they had their toys. But then we had to do some wheeling and dealing, too, for if they wanted to keep a new one. So that was how I did that. But anyway, back to the pallet of McDonald's toys. So I buy this pallet of McDonald's toys, man. And, you know, every weekend I set up somewhere, man. Every weekend. Would set up at a flea market or, you know, an antique show or whatever. And I had all these McDonald's toys. Man, I had this big old trunk. So, man, I filled that trunk up. And this is back then. This is crazy. Filled that trunk up, and I had them 50 cents each or 3 for $1. And I took, man, just at first, I took the first day, because the cell that I was at was Spectre. It was in Boise at the fairgrounds. And so it was a Saturday and Sunday show. And I had a shopper, hey! I had a shopper, storage area or whatever, not too far away. So anyway, so we set up at this show.
That's what I was doing.
Oh, okay, thank you. Set up at this show and put this bin, you know, or this trunk full of McDonald's toys out, 50 cents each, 3 for $1. And man, at that place, man, they'd line up. The people used to line up. You'd, as far as you could see out, you know, you're inside and you know, the whole glass front, and you'd see all the people lined up all the way out into the parking lot. And they'd open, man, and it was just it was like the day after Christmas. You know, I mean, it was pandemonia. It was crazy. But they'd rush in there. Dude, within the first 15 or 20 minutes, I sold every one of those frickin' McDonald's toys at 3 for $1. You know, and I can't remember what the count was there. But, man, I'm like, holy crap, you know, not only brought the one trunk, you know, because you just don't know. So, man, I had Kitty run over. I said, man, go get the rest of them things, or as many as you can fit in the van. So she went over, man. I don't remember how many boxes of them was. And, man, so she gets them, so I run out and get those, man. I fill up that freaking thing, dude. Within an hour, man, they're all gone again. I did that all day. I sold all of those McDonald's toys, man, and it was like $780-something. You know, I started keeping track, so it was probably even more than that, the stuff that didn't get written down, but it was $780-something bucks that I recorded on them dang $5 pallet of McDonald's toys. That was awesome. I do that, man. I got off on a story. I got to share this stuff. Man, that's what this is, the junker chat. So anyway, back to man, I got dogs galore in here. Hold on. Okay, come on. You got it. This kid comes over, brings me a chip, and then leaves these crazy dogs in here. And they want attention. So, okay, back to the Goodwill. So I'm watching these videos, you know, I'm kind of checking it out and everything. And, like I said, man, the stuff that I've seen, you know, I don't know, you'd have to do a bunch of, it's really not that important. But the stuff I was watching, man, I'd say 80 to 90% of the people are getting the majority of their stuff at the Goodwills. And all the power to them. But what about you guys, some of y'all out there that ain't got a Goodwill? You know, the Goodwills ain't everywhere. Man, especially for us rural or country folks, you know, we don't have Goodwills closer. It's going to cost us, you know, for me to run that with the fuel prices the way they are and all that, man, you're talking $50, you know, 30 to $50 in fuel at least, and that's in the Toyota. So that's just not, you know, it just adds on to your thing. Which for me, you know, other than all the locals, man, you know, I've been doing this for so long, I get phone calls and texts and waiting for a buddy of mine. You know, it's a couple, they're junkers, two of our favorite people, and he just retired. He's been in the junk business too. They used to have a little junk store over here. If you can go back on the videos, I actually did a video over there. Anyway, but there he's putting together a big estate sale right now, man. He's been working on it for the last couple of weeks. It's supposed to be a big one, so I'll be there. And a lot of times I'm there before anybody else. But anyway, you know, so, but even for me, even the junk, you know, I call them junk shops, thrift shops. You know, we've got thrift shops, you know, and I got one that's fairly close. And other than that one that's, you know, within 10 miles, the rest of them are, geez, man, that one's probably going south. It'd probably be 30 miles the first one, and then another 25 miles to the next one, and then another 20 miles or something to the next, you know, that's going south. And then if I go north, man, it's, I don't know, man. The same, you know, no matter what. And then actually, once you hit the ones, you get to McCall or something like that, you know, and hit the ones in McCall. There's 3 in McCall. And then, other than that, man, you keep going north, man. You got to go all the way to Riggins, you know, and there's well, there is the one thrift shop there in Riggins. And then there's a couple of antique, you know, because I do hit the antique shops too, man, especially the old country ones. That's where this hat came from. But everybody's always asking me about my hat. And I picked this thing up. It's got long gone now, but I picked this thing up at a junk shop, years ago. Just an old, off the side of the road, mountain junk shop. And, you know, that's where I picked this old hat up. Yeah, like I said, years ago. So I keep getting sidetracked because I got so much to share with you. I'm just full of it. But, so man, so I was thinking on that, you know, and the thrift, you know, not having, or the Goodwills, everybody shopping at the Goodwills and stuff, man. And any of y'all that don't have Goodwills and stuff like that around, there is always, dude, there's junk everywhere, man. I don't care if you're trash picking, if you're, man, talk to the old timers, man, get to digging around in their sheds and their, you know, if you can work your way in, you know, talking, chatting, all that. I'd suggest not, I've done this, man, it's always turned bad, man. I won't even get into it. But it always turned out bad, is selling stuff for other people. In this business, in 35 plus years of doing this, dang near every time that I've done it, one way or another, it just did not turn out. So, man, me, anytime, man, I get people wanting me to sell stuff for them all the time. You know, why would I sell something for somebody, even if I'm splitting it? Sell something, take the time and all that to do it, you know, and split it with them, man, I'd just soon buy it. So that's the best way as far as when you're getting stuff. Don't do that consignment crap. You know, I know a lot of people do and like it and all that, and all the power to you, man. But in 35 plus years of doing this crap, I've learned to just buy and sell your own crap. It's the best way. Okay, so, man, you don't have a Goodwill close. You don't need a Goodwill. First of all, let's check, man, every town I go, man, if we go traveling around, you know, and me within, I don't know what radius I would say, man, 300 to 500 mile radius. You know, if you put a circle around the creek bottom, I pretty much know, other than the new ones opening and then the ones closing, because, man, if junk shops stay for longer than a year or two, then they're doing pretty good. But usually they start off great, and then they just peter out, man. And same with the flea markets, man. I was involved in starting a half dozen, probably. Maybe not that many, but quite a few flea markets that, you know, I was part in the management or partners or whatever in them down in the valley, down the flatlands, and tried to get them going, man. They'd start off good, and 8 or 9 months in, 6 months in, they would just peter out. I don't know why that is down there. Anyway, I'm like I'm trying to get all these avenues of this. So if you don't, the original thing about doing this video was trying to get to you that don't have Goodwills. You don't need a Goodwill. And what I was saying about the radius round, man, is any little town you go into, always, man, you used to be able to look in the phone book, man, you can get online, man, punch in, thrift stores, secondhand stores, antique stores, all that, and see whatever's in that town, in your town, man, the next town over, and hit them all, man, the antique shops, all that. I love treasure hunting the antique shops, man, because I just like going in there, and there's always something that somebody doesn't know something about and they missed it. I make a lot of money from the antique stores, So, always hit those. That's now, the antique shops, there's a lot of them, man. I'll only go into them maybe once a year. Man, there's a couple of them, or a few of them, man, the turnover's good and stuff like that. And then there's, like down in Weezer, there's one, and it's one of those ones where they do the consignments with the booth. And in the whole, and it's a big one, man, in the whole antique store, so far, there's really only one booth in that store that I go to. And I actually got this whole holster in there, man. This holster for my 1911, 12 bucks. 12 bucks, man, for a leather holster. That's pretty good. And that was out of my one booth. And I got bunches of stuff around here. Actually, I got this right here. This is actually an old, what is it? K.A. something centers. Anyway, man, I got tobacco in there. Backy. But it's a humidor, man. Cedar lined, old brass humidor, and I got that same booth, man. One booth. There's one booth in there, and the next time that we go down to Weezer, I'll be stopping in there. I'll check out the whole store because it's big, but it ain't massive. So, man, I'll run through there pretty quick. Miss Kitty, she goes around, checks all that while I dig through because, man, I don't miss one single thing in that. But, man, I've scored some pretty good stuff there. So what I'm trying to get is just because you don't have a Goodwill, you don't need a Goodwill. Man, there is junk everywhere, man. I don't know how many conversations and stuff that I've had with folks, that email, oh, I just want to get into this, but I don't know how. Dude, there is crap. Man, look at taco stacks and junk farm. I mean, they're out picking the crap off the side of the road. I do a lot of that too, believe me. I am a dumpster diver from way back, man. I was dumpster diving when I was like 7 or 8 years old. There was one dumpster not too far from our place, man. They did carpet and stuff, but they were always throwing good stuff in there. Plus I always, man, for my forts, always had nice carpet pieces. So, man, just because all these, or the majority of them, if you're watching them, I don't really, I got, like I said, my little handful of folks I watch. I'm always looking for a better one, man. If there's any that goes along, I've not found anybody that really does or deals in the kind of stuff that I'm into, but always looking. That's all I got for you, man. It's pretty long. So I hope you got something out of this video today. And remember, keep your eye on the skyline and your nose to the wind. And if you're out there treasure hunting, I hope you find some color in the bottom of your pan. See ya.